The report was smoothly handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta today, but it has sailed through rough waters to get to this point, as Seth Olale now tells us.
Barely 6 months after the 14-member Building Bridges Initiative Task Force was formed, the team encountered its first legal hurdle after an activist by the name Mora Gesicho filed a petition at the High Court declaring the task force mandate unconstitutional. 2 months later, Ekuru Aukot's Third Way Alliance filed a petition in court contesting the grounds under which the BBI was formed, terming it a waste of taxpayers' money.
My Lord, we have questioned many things about the manner in which they were appointed, and looks like there's really no time frame.
Then there was the Punguza Mizigo initiative that got the green light from both the courts and Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Luckily, the initiative that was seen as a potential alternative and threat to BBI failed to meet the constitutional threshold of being adopted by at least 24 counties.
This initiative has a very nice title, but it is extremely detrimental to our people. And we've had discussions with the Assembly, and we've had discussions with many people, enlightening them on the importance of ensuring that it does not pass, and waiting until we have the initiative of the BBI, which we think will be taking cognizance of the things that we're very concerned about.
And just last month, activist Mora Gesicho again filed another application seeking to stop the Building Bridges Initiative report from submitting its finding to the president. In his ruling, Justice Weldon Korir of the Constitutional and Human Rights Division dismissed the application, stating that the petitioner did not demonstrate the prejudice she will suffer if the report is submitted to the president. Outside the courtroom, the task force faced opposition from politicians and supporters allied to Deputy President William Ruto.
Lakini kama sasa ni kutafutia kazi wenye wako na kazi tena. Sioni kukupangia nyinyi njama jamani. Hatutaki kupangia wananchi njama.
Money was a big setback for operations of the task force until 10 billion Kenya shillings was set aside for the initiative through the 2019-2020 budget allocation. But with the political goodwill from the president and opposition leader Raila Odinga, the task force somehow survived all its hurdles and completed its findings. But that was not before enduring one final hurdle of having to wait for up to 1 month in order to present its report to the head of state. Seth Olale, NTV.
Now, the presentation of the report to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga is just actually the first phase in what is going to be a very long process at least. Let's have a look at some of the facts and figures about the Building Bridges Task Force and the report that they have released today. And the first one, of course, being 1 year and 8 months, the duration this has actually taken since the handshake between President Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga on March 9th, 2018. And that's when this process began. So in 20 months, here we are today to look at some of the issues there. That's the 9-point agenda, which actually outlined the scope of the task force, at least what they were going to be looking into, the ills that the country were facing, at least according to the two principles, and the solutions thereof that were to be looked at by this specific task force. According to the report, they say they traversed all the 47 counties in the country, speaking to Kenyans and collecting their views really on what they thought about these ills and how some of those issues would be addressed thereof. They say in the report again that they spoke to 7,000 citizens who were consulted and gave their views, at least in public, by appearing at those forums and telling the task force really what they thought about the specific issues that were being talked about there. And 400 elected leaders, past and present, were also spoken to, and they also gave their views. We remember some of them were actually called to speak to the task force here at the Kenyatta International Conference Center, was it? Convention Center, I should say. And they spoke to the task force as well on some of the issues that were being raised in that report. report. 123 individuals from different sectors, and these included constitutional bodies and, of course, the public and private sector as well. 123 individuals being spoken to and giving their views as well on that. 261 submissions were made via email, according to the task force. These are individuals who perhaps for one reason or the other were not able to make physical appearances and therefore sent their submissions via email. That's according to that report as well. 755 handwritten submissions were also given to the task force. These are people who actually sat down and wrote a raft of solutions or whatever it is, the issues that they had, and then submitted that to the task force as well. That's according to the report that has been issued today to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga. Remember, this process, at least in the budget, it's supposed to cost 10 billion shillings in the 2019-2020 financial year for collecting those views from Kenyans, as well as coming up with the recommendations. And now the process that begins after this, which will be unveiled tomorrow at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. And that marks the end of our coverage of the BBI report tonight.